Do you get into bed at night and think like the future of the world hangs on my judgment?
Look, I don't sleep that well at night. There's a lot of stuff that I feel a lot of weight on, but probably nothing more than the fact that every day hundreds of millions of people talk to our model. And I don't actually worry about us getting the big moral decisions wrong. What I lose more sleep over is the very small decisions we make about a way a model may behave slightly differently. But it's talking to hundreds of millions of people, so the net impact is big.
That is Sam Altman, the guy running the most used AI system on the planet, and he just told you he can't sleep at night. Not because of AGI, not because of bioweapons, because of the small invisible decisions already inside the model right now, touching hundreds of millions of people every single day. Here's the full conversation.
So if it's nothing more than a machine and just the product of its inputs, then the two obvious questions, like what are the inputs? What's the moral framework that's been put into the technology? What is right or wrong according to ChatGPT?
Someone said something early on in ChatGPT that really has stuck with me. One person at a lunch table said something like, we're trying to train this to be the collective of all of humanity. We're reading everything. We're trying to see all these perspectives. And if we do our job right, all of humanity, good, bad, a very diverse set of perspectives, some things that we'll feel really good about, some things that we'll feel bad about, that's all in there. Now, the base model gets trained that way, but then we do have to align it to behave one way or another. And we have this thing called the model spec where we try to say, here are the rules we'd like the model to follow. It may screw up, but you can at least tell if it's doing something you don't like, is that a bug or is that intended? And we have a debate process with the world to get input on that spec.
But what moral framework? The sum total of like world literature or philosophy is at war with itself. Like the Marquis de Sade has nothing in common with the Gospel of John.
Right.
So like, how do you decide which is superior?
That's why we wrote this model spec of here's how we're going to handle these cases.
Right, but what criteria did you use? Who decided that? Who did you consult? Why is the Gospel of John better than the Marquis de Sade?
We consulted hundreds of moral philosophers, people who thought about ethics of technology and systems. And at the end, we had to make some decisions.
So the moral compass inside the most powerful AI on Earth was decided by a committee of philosophers. And when Tucker asked the simplest possible question, who decided and by what standard, the best answer Sam has is that they consulted people and wrote it down. That's not a moral framework. That's a terms and conditions agreement pretending to be a conscience. Now listen to this.
Every decision is ultimately a moral decision, and we make them without even recognizing them as such. And this technology will be, in effect, making them for us.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with it'll be making them for us, but it will have to.
It'll be influencing the decisions for sure. And because it'll be embedded in daily life. And so who made these decisions? Who specifically? The people who decided that one thing is better than another. The specs that create the framework that attach a moral weight to worldviews. Liberal democracy is better than Nazism or whatever. They seem obvious, and in my view are obvious, but are still moral decisions. So who made those calls?
As a matter of principle, I don't dox our team, but the person I think you should hold accountable for those calls is me. I'm the public face. I'm the one that can overrule one of those decisions.
And I turned 40 this spring. It's pretty heavy. Do you recognize sort of the importance?
How do you think we're doing on it?
I'm not sure. But I think these decisions will have global consequences that we may not recognize at first. Do you get into bed at night and think the future of the world hangs on my judgment?
Look, I don't sleep that well at night. Probably nothing more than the fact that every day hundreds of millions of people talk to our model. I don't actually worry about us getting the big moral decisions wrong. What I lose more sleep over is the very small decisions we make about a way a model may behave slightly differently. But it's talking to hundreds of millions of people, so the net impact is big.
A 39-year-old guy just told you he's personally accountable for the values being transmitted to hundreds of millions of people every single day. And when Tucker asks how they're doing, his honest answer is, I'm not sure. Not, we're doing great. Not, we have a process. I'm not sure. That is the most powerful AI company in the world speaking. Now listen.
All through recorded history up until 1945, people always deferred to what they conceived of as a higher power. Every moral code is written with reference to a higher power. Hammurabi did this. There's never been anybody who's well, that kind of seems better than that. Everybody appeals to a higher power, and you said that you don't really believe that there's a higher power communicating with you, so where did you get your moral framework?
Like everybody else, I think the environment I was brought up in probably is the biggest thing. My family, my community, my school, my religion.
That's a very American answer, but in your specific case, since these decisions rest with you, that means the milieu in which you grew up and the assumptions that you imbibed over years are going to be transmitted to the globe, to billions of people. That's a big thing.
I want to be clear. I view myself more as, I think our user base is going to approach the collective world as a whole. What we should do is try to reflect the collective moral view of that user base. I don't wake up and say, I'm gonna impute my exact moral view. What I think ChatGPT should do is reflect that weighted average of humanity's moral view, which will evolve over time. We are here to serve our users.
So the plan is a weighted average of humanity's morality, which sounds neutral until you realize someone is still deciding what gets weighted, how much, and who counts. And Sam Altman learned his values from his upbringing in San Francisco. And that upbringing is now the foundation of the system shaping how 1 billion people think. A weighted average built by one company in one city, run by one man, is not a mirror of humanity. Now listen to this.
Would you be comfortable with an AI that was against gay marriage as most Africans are?
I think individual users should be allowed to have a problem with gay people. And if that's their considered belief, I don't think the AI should tell them that they're wrong or immoral or dumb. I probably have like a bunch of moral views that the average African would find really problematic as well, and I think I should still get to have them. I probably have more comfort than you with like allowing a sort of space for people to have pretty different moral views.
What are the downsides that you worry about?
Always worry the most about the unknown unknowns. Talked about one earlier, which is these models are getting very good at bio, and they could help us design biological weapons, engineer like another COVID-style pandemic. I worry about that, but the unknown unknowns, there's a societal scale effect from a lot of people talking the same model at the same time.
See, the bioweapon answer is the one that gets all the attention, but the part that actually worries me is what he says right after it. He calls it the unknown unknowns, the things nobody planned, nobody predicted, and nobody is watching for. And then he gives you the M- example, which sounds trivial until you understand what he's actually describing. Now, hear this.
LLMs like ours have a certain style to them. They talk in a certain rhythm and they have a little bit unusual diction, and maybe they overuse M-. And I noticed recently that real people have like picked that up. You have enough people talking the same language model, and it actually does cause a change in societal scale behavior. Did I think that ChatGPT was gonna make people use way more M- in real life? Certainly not. It's not a big deal, but it's an example of where there can be this unknown unknown.
You're saying correctly that technology changes human behavior and changes our assumptions about the world. Considering that we know that, why shouldn't the internal moral framework of the technology be totally transparent? This is obviously a religion,
But I would love to hear what you mean by that.
it's something that we assume is more powerful than people, and to which we look for guidance. What's the right decision? I ask that question of whom? My closest friends, my wife, and God. And this is a technology that provides a more certain answer than any person can provide. And the beauty of religions is they have a catechism that is transparent. I know what the religion stands for. The unsettling part of this technology is that I don't know what it stands for, but it does stand for something. And unless it admits that and tells us what it stands for, then it guides us in a kind of stealthy way toward a conclusion we might not even know we're reaching.
The reason we write this long model spec is so that you can see, here's how we intend for the model to behave.
Is there a place you can go to find out a hard answer to what your preferences as a company are, preferences that are being transmitted in a not entirely straightforward way to the globe?
Our model spec is the answer to that. I expect that document to get very long and very complicated, but that's why we have it.
Tucker calls it a religion that won't admit it's a religion. And Sam Altman's response to that is, we have a document, a very long document that's going to get even longer. That's the entire answer. The thing talking to hundreds of millions of people every day, quietly shaping how they think, how they speak, what they believe is normal. It stands for something, and the only accountability structure in place is a terms of service that most people will never read. Sam can't sleep at night. He's not sure how they're doing. He learned his values from his upbringing and is now transmitting them to the world. And the most honest thing he said in this entire conversation was that the things keeping him awake are the small decisions, the ones nobody notices, the ones already happening right now. Subscribe, because this is moving faster than any of us are being told, and nobody in power is slowing down to explain it. See you in the next video.